Age of Mythology, a game of massive armies, mythological beasts, and being the playthings of the gods. While this game as a whole is a masterpiece of game design, with my opinion being one of the greatest RTS games ever made, with having a chaotic multiplayer and a story-driven campaign through the sieges of Troy, the sands of Egypt, and the frostlines of Midgard, I'd just like to talk about one part of this game: the opening and first mission of the game's campaign.
That looked like Theris. It has been a long time since you sent him to the underworld, Arcantos. Fighting old battles again?
Yes. Old enemies. I still see them here.
You have won more battles for Atlantis than can be counted, faced opponents no other man dared fight.
That was long ago. Today, Atlantis' enemies live only in my dreams. I face feeble pirates now.
Is that what you believe, Atlantean? Atlantis still has enemies, and you are still the one who will face them.
Any who threaten my home or my family will soon have a place in my dreams.
These are enemies unlike the others, Arcantos. Do not let your guard down. Dark times are coming.
After the opening cutscene, the game shows its first excellent choice of game design, introducing Ryan the Toxite. Ryan is the lone archer standing at the shore that gets picked up by the Kraken and is thrown. New players seeing this probably didn't even know that the Kraken could pick up your human soldiers and throw them a football fields away. But experienced players, or people who are replaying the mission again, can and do know this feature, so they try their best to move Ryan out of the way before the Kraken can, get to him. Before Arcantos and the catapults can move up and take out the Kraken.
Arcantos is a hero and very effective.
The reason why I say that this is an excellent, feature or like an excellent decision is, well, it adds to the replayability. It adds the first point of a skill check. Like, if you know what's going to happen, the first thing that you do in the mission is move Ryan out of the way so you don't lose a soldier. In the long run, it doesn't really matter, but it's like a tiny little pat on the back, like, yeah, I did good, I know what I'm doing. And from the new player's experience, well, it tells the player that, yeah, maybe I should pay attention to the shoreline, maybe I should pay attention to other myth units because they do mean business and they really do a bunch of damage. It makes you think before engaging the enemy when you don't know what the enemy is capable of doing. This moment sets the tension for the entire mission, and that's why it's such a good decision that they did it. After taking care of the starting Kraken, the pirates then start landing ships of troops onto the shoreline in waves. And this is where the loop of the mission comes into play, because after taking care of the wave of the enemies, Athena, through narration, tells the player a mechanic, or one of the building blocks of the game. Firstly, Athena tells the player of the importance of villagers and your economy. She tells you that you can move your villagers around to a specific resource that you may or may not have, or you can build more. Note that you're not forced to increase the amount of villagers or the economy that you have. It's just like, hey, you can do this if you have the action to spare, which, as a new player, 20 years ago, a lot of people probably didn't have the intention to increase their economy, but still having the option to do so, I say is a good way to introduce the mechanic to the player, while then not hindering the veterans or the people who are playing the campaign for the 10th time. The mission in itself is a tutorial on how to play the game without being a tutorial. It doesn't railroad the player to make 10 Marines like StarCraft, or it doesn't tell you 10 buildings to build. It gives you the option in a fluid manner. The three core mechanics that Athena tells the player, in the same fashion after each wave, is how to use god powers, the focus on economy, how to train troops, and how to use the armory to upgrade your
Consider
troops.
upgrading the weapons and armor of your units at the armory.
The mission ends with an enormous wave of enemies, too great a number for you to defeat alone, even if you have built up your army, your economy, and everything else. Fortunately, shortly after they land, the Atlantean army comes to reinforce, allowing you to change the tide of the battle and successfully defend the harbor from the pirate attack. I'm going to let this entire fight play out while I blast some of the game's music, because that is one of the best parts of this game. Its sound design, its voice lines, and the music itself.
Another message from Poseidon, Arcantos. His creatures help the pirates.
Father, they stole the trident!
What? Yes, it was stolen during the fighting.
Chamos.
There could not be a clearer sign, Arcantos. We are losing Poseidon's favor. We must act.
I will go to Troy as you ask. I'm going to get that trident back on the way.
Zathos, take supplies aboard and get the men together. We're setting sail. Can I come?
No, I need you here in case they come back. Don't worry, this errand will not take long.
After defeating the pirates, they sail away with their true intentions of their attack, to steal the trident of Poseidon, in which that will be used later in the campaign. But that is not the focus of this video. The main focus is this mission. So let's talk about the differences in difficulty and their uniqueness and how they treat the new player experience as well as those who are coming back for the 10th and 15th time. I may have already talked about some of the little things here and there, but I would like to go in depth. This mission is a free win regardless of what difficulty you do play, but the difficulty that you do choose does impact the mission. It increases the amount of enemies in each wave, the myth units that you see, and the upgrades of the enemies units that you'll have. And on Titan difficulty, he even has a special surprise before the final wave of attack. From the perspective of the new player, you can beat the mission without training, building, or even upgrading your units. This allows new players to focus on where to position and move their troops before taking on the waves of pirates, if they can't spare the attention to make more or to focus on their economy. This gives the player a rewarding experience through their own choices and strategy, depending on the skill level that they are. On easy and medium, the two easiest difficulties, the game gives you extra troops and even towers that defend the shoreline. On hard and Titan, the towers are removed, the number of starting troops are removed, and the need to train more troops as well as increase your economy is required if you want to beat the mission comfortably. And I have to emphasize that the reason why I think that this is such a good thing for a game is replayability. Replaying a campaign that forces you to make 10 troops on its first mission isn't really that fun to go back to and replay over and over again. In this mission, it doesn't matter how many times you replay it, it's still a blast. There's a lot of action and content packed into one small 10-minute mission, regardless of the difficulty. Like, it sends like 6 waves of enemies at you. And they are difficult, and each wave gets stronger than the last, But even with that tension of, oh, did I make enough? Did I position myself enough? But somehow your troops do manage to come ahead. And then the last wave, seeing like 10 ships come into harbor, and like, oh, when is the army gonna get here? Because I'm gonna need it. I have 10 hoplites and a few archers. There's no way I'm gonna be able to defend this. And and then the enemy troops land, and then you're like, oh crap, I don't have enough. And then the reinforcing army comes at the perfect point, and you're like, yeah, let's drive them back and let's win. And even though the game gives you the win at the end, you still have to make decisions through your own choices and strategy. You still get the choice to make those decisions of strategy and whatnot to defeat the mission. However, there is one gripe that I have. Titan difficulty. Titan difficulty alters the entire campaign to, let's just say, an unfair degree. And it becomes a slog and a frustrating one later in the campaign. Even on this mission, it can still be enough to force a loss. It's rare, but it still does happen. Hard. If you want to play this game, play it on hard. That hard is a fair and challenging difficulty. But if you really do like a grind and a struggle, play Titan. I have beaten this campaign on Titan. It took way too long. Oh well. I would have segued into a cutscene or something like that, but the game doesn't have one, so we're just going to move on to the next topic. The next topic that I want to talk about is cheese strategies and other strategies that completely break the mission. This first one is, if you just completely ignore the starting Kraken, you can build up a defense around the shore and win the game without even losing a single unit, even on hard difficulty. The reason why this works is because the enemy waves are not based off of time played, rather a set of triggers when each enemy wave has been taken care of. So if you just ignore the starting Kraken, no other wave will come to attack the harbor. Unfortunately, the reinforcing Atlantean army will never come as well, and technically the mission will never end too. But you don't need the extra Atlantean army if you do this wall setup, because you just place 15 towers and you can win the game. No, GG no re. Obviously, this is cheating the mission and its mechanics, but if you just want to have some giggles, this strategy is always a fun one to do.
The black sails are fleeing. It will take more than pirates to overrun Atlantis.
The last topic I want to talk about and go over a little bit more is the sound design. The use of simple instruments and little jingles with the units and buildings, as well as the small little details when the units get upgraded. Their models physically change to represent the new upgrades. And there's countless little details that just increase the immersion and the setting and tone and the care that went into making this game. This mission is great. This mission alone makes it great. But the entire game and campaign as a whole truly is something special that Ensemble made. And with that said, that's it. That's Omens, the starting mission to one of the greatest RTS games and campaigns in the genre. Okay, I'm done. I'm done yapping. If you watched to the end, I thank you so much. This is something new that I have never done. I'm learning, and I enjoyed this process, even if it did take a while. If you really did like it, that'd be awesome if you liked and subbed. Please bear with me. There's a lot of rust in this. I know I can go back and do a little bit better, but that's okay. But anyway, tell me what you think below. Tell me what you think I need to improve on. Tell me any thoughts that you come up with. Alright. Wear your seatbelt. Get up. Go get some water. Stretch a little bit. Go make something today. And thank you so much for watching. Peace.